It's been quite a while since I've been on here, and I'm sure you guys can remember about over a year ago now when I started to share my story. But, okay. But then all of a sudden I disappeared. And I basically left you all hanging. And I do feel like I owe you all an explanation. And on top of that, it's also time that I set the record straight. So the thing is, I've felt like I've basically lied to you all. But the truth is, it wasn't that I intentionally was trying to deceive you. I was scared. I was scared to open up, and I was scared to talk about my past. I was terrified. I was ashamed, and that shame made me really hesitant to reveal everything. Plus, besides all that, someone from my past actually became very angry with me for sharing too many details. And sorry. I decided to make a lot of videos today, and so I want to share some stuff with you guys. But anyway, that reaction left me completely paralyzed. But the thing is, and this was, remember, it was a year and a half ago. And so what they didn't know was that for 2 years before that, something in my spirit, I really felt led, and I felt like God was basically wanting me to write a book, okay? And I don't know if that had anything to do with the fact that it was very difficult for me to vocalize my story, but I fought him tooth and nail. I did not want to do it. And so I finally made a decision that I was not going to write a book. In fact, I wasn't going to write anything. Hence the hesitation to even tell my story. I mean, why would I even write it? I remember summarizing and putting this whole thing together, and it was like 13 pages long. And I'm like, here, there you go. Like, that's not even a book, right? Didn't know anything about writing a book or how I should share my story or like the things that happen. And I'll be honest with you, like most of what I wrote about, I'd never seen a counselor for it. And in addition to that, I mean, hell, I barely even graduated high school. And so this was about, like I said, it was a couple years before I had this altercation with this person. And then I went to a business conference, and there I was. It was lunchtime. And every now and then when I go to events like that, I usually like to say like just a really quick prayer, and it's just something I do. I just say a quick prayer. I'm like, okay, where should I sit? Right? And so here I am. I'm sitting at this table, and I'm talking to this man, and usually conversations and conferences like this usually ends up like this, where I tell somebody I do nails for a living, and they're asking me for pointers for issues that their wife has with their nails and stuff like that. So that's what I was doing with this person. I was just giving him some pointers and suggestions on property, or not properties, but products that she could use. And so So I was finished eating. I stand up to leave. And then suddenly, like out of nowhere, my spirit, something just literally, it was so loud in my head. It just said, sit down. And I thought, oh no, this is not good. Like, this is not the place for this. I thought I was going nuts. I told myself, okay, this is stupid. I'm overthinking things. I can't remember how long it was after I had that conversation with the person that became angry with me from then to the conference. I don't remember. But anyway, everybody at this table was having their own conversations. Like, this was just me in my own head. And so I convinced myself that I was going crazy and this was dumb. So I get up and I get up to leave again. And it happened again. So by this point, I'm like, okay, all right. So now I'm bugged. Like, I have no idea what's going on. I don't know why this was happening. And so I leaned in, like I literally interrupted these conversations. I leaned in and I tell these folks, excuse me, but can y'all tell me what you do for a living? And they kind of looked at me like I was nuts. And so I thought, okay, whatever. I'm already embarrassed. So it is what it is. So each one by one, they started going down the line. There were 8 of them. Each one hesitantly basically just told me what they did. Then the last guy tells me, I write books. I was shocked. And I said, huh? Like, okay. I didn't know what to say. So he asks me to sit down. And he asked me, he's like, hey, have a seat. Like, why don't you tell me your story? I'm like, okay, I don't know this guy from Adam, so I figured why not. So I tell him my story. Then he proceeds to tell me that he's written dozens of books. He's been doing this for well over 20, 25 years or something like that. Several of those books were New York Times bestsellers. And basically what this guy does is he ghostwrites these books for these people. And then he tells me, then the hammer drops, right? He says, yeah, I ghostwrite these books for these people and been doing it for the longest time. And normally I charge $30,000 to write somebody's book. And I thought, oh, okay, whatever. Like, I don't have that kind of money laying around, right? So I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, God, that was hilarious, right? I heard you, that was hilarious. I get it, right? Then this dude leans in and tells me quietly, he says, now let me tell you why you had a hard time getting up out of this table. And I thought, holy crap. I'm like, okay. So not only did my mouth drop, but I sat back and I just smiled. Like, I didn't know what to say. You know, this guy he'd never met the guy before. He had never seen me before. He had no idea what was happening in my head. Obviously, it was in my freaking head. And so then he proceeds to then tell me a little bit more of his story. He tells me that he's a Christian, and during COVID, God had led him to basically teach people like me how to tell their stories and how to write their own books. I was like, okay, that's cool, but I don't have $30,000. I didn't tell him that, but I'm thinking that in my head. Then he starts to tell me that he's doing this 90-day challenge, book writing challenge for people like myself. And he says that I needed to tell my story. And he said that he would help me and teach me everything I needed to know about how to write this. And then the guy tells me that he's only going to charge me $300. $300, dude. I was floored. Like, I didn't even know what to think at this point. So needless to say, I took the deal and now I'm here. I wrote my book. And so after that whole encounter, I had reached out to the person that got angry with me and told them the story and did all of that. And I told them that, okay, look, I understand where we're at. Like, you're at a different journey than I am, and you're, dealing with past differently than I am. You're at a different place. But eventually my story is going to come out because I had made the decision. I mean, I had already paid the guy $300, and the book challenge was set to start like a few weeks later. And so I told this person that my book was going to come out, and it since has. It's called Unraveling Passion, Confront Your Past to Find Your Future. And, when I started writing the book, although I didn't really know all of the details of what would be in the book, like I said before, like I had never seen any counselors about this. I'm like really like pouring my whole heart out, my whole account of my life into this thing. And I didn't even know how it was going to end. All I knew was that I needed to start. And so I communicated that nonetheless. And, how do I explain this? Okay, so the problem is this. Okay, so when I was a kid, right? As a kid, I was never taken seriously. In fact, anything I touch would basically fall apart. Like everything I touched, I was a screw up. Like I screwed up a lot, right? So nobody really trusted me. And so maybe I thought, okay, so now in hindsight, and I'm about to explain what happened after the book came out, but in hindsight, maybe this person thought like, yeah, okay, like you of all people, like you're going to write a book. Okay, you're not going to write a book, right? So fast forward, the book comes out and I start talking because I thought I did what I was supposed to do. I communicated. I mean, it took a whole year for the book to come out. I start getting on podcasts. I start to do interviews. I start planning events. It was right around the time I had my gala that I was planning, where I delve into my story even more. Then there was a specific podcast that came out, and this person saw a clip of it, and there was a screaming match between this person and I was once again completely paralyzed. This was a couple of months ago. And so it's been now over a year. This was in March of last year when I started posting those videos, and all of you guys thought I was having a midlife crisis. See, the thing is that I've realized that being afraid and feeling ashamed is not who I am anymore. I wholeheartedly, sorry, I hate that word. Wholeheartedly, I want to be authentic, and I want to share my experience with all of you. At the end of the day, my past, it doesn't, but my past doesn't really define me, and it really should not hold me back at all from being honest. Sorry, I didn't think this video was going to take this long, but if I'm being transparent, when I started sharing this, after I wrote my book, after I started, talking and doing all of this, a lot of women reached out to me. I was receiving so many different messages since this whole thing began. Many of them were troubled teens. They would reach out to me on Messenger and just basically like tell me like, can I meet you? Can I meet you for coffee? Like, I saw this clip, or I saw this thing, and can I meet you? I want to buy your book. Can I tell you my story? And I was overwhelmed, to be honest. I didn't know what to think. And there was one girl in particular. She had tried to commit suicide 16 times. Now imagine being across the table from someone like that. She had a little girl. This little girl must have been 3. Imagine sitting across the table from somebody like that and them telling you that now they want to get their license to do nails. So that they can escape through their creativity like I did. There was one mom that has a daughter who's mixed up with the cartel. There was another girl that was abused by her cousin for years. And she never dared tell a soul. And so what I have to say in this video is this, right? For those of you that don't want me to speak, tell that to these women that essentially desperately needed to hear my testimony. Tell them that they're not worth the sacrifice. Honestly, I don't know that anybody could tell them that. But here or there, here nor there, however you say that, I do want to get one thing straight, and then I'll be done. I love my family a lot. Each and every one of them, they're all important to me. My parents, whew, dang, dude, like my parents, they are my heroes. Their sacrifice has basically led me to become the person that I am today. And and I do believe that there's a reason why I'm here. And looking back now, I would not change anything about my past. I wouldn't change anything about my story. I wouldn't change anything that happened to me. I wouldn't change the decisions. Well, maybe some of the decisions, but no, maybe not. Like the decisions that I made basically led me to where I am today. And it's not perfect. Like nobody's life is perfect. But so from now on, here's what I'm going to say. My promise to you is to share myself with you. And I want this channel to be a safe space where we can all connect, where a space where we can share stories, and a space where we can all learn from each other. And I'm hopeful that that this channel will become that. Now, I understand that, if some of you guys might be skeptical, or perhaps you're disappointed in me for completely leaving you in the dark and disappearing because like the momentum came up. People were messaging me, asking me like why I stopped or like what happened. And I genuinely do apologize for that. And, but at the end of the day, I hope that you can understand that it was a necessary thing that needed to happen for me, so that it gave me a chance to essentially gather my thoughts and to overcome my fears. And so that's what I wanted to share with you all today. I'm sorry it took so long. I didn't think I was going to talk so slow and cry. I'm trying to think of the words of like what the hell I'm going to say. But thank you all so much. I'm excited to embark on this journey. Don't know what the person is going to say, but it is what it is. I'm excited to embark on this journey with you all once again. And I'm ready. Are you? I hope you are. Thank you all so much in advance for your understanding and for your support.